Sometimes the smallest act, the smallest coin in your pocket, can change someone's whole life. This is the story of a man who had nothing left except $5, and how that little note carried more weight than he could ever imagine. In a quiet European town not far from the countryside lived a man named Thomas. Thomas was 52. He wasn't always poor. Once he had a steady job at a furniture shop, a little home, and dreams of growing old in peace. But life doesn't always stay the way we plan. A sudden illness took away his wife. His son moved to another city, searching for a better life. And Thomas was left with nothing but memories, a few old clothes, and a heavy heart. Every day he walked through the same cobblestone streets, carrying a worn-out bag that had more holes than fabric. He slept where he could, sometimes under the train station's roof, sometimes on a wooden bench in the park. People passed by him without looking. To them, he was invisible. To himself, he was broken. And yet, Thomas never begged. He had only one rule left in his life. No matter how little I have, I will never forget I am human. One cold evening, Thomas counted the last of his money, $5. That was it. In his palm, the note looked like a blessing and a curse. He could buy a loaf of bread, maybe a little soup. Or he could keep it safe for tomorrow, stretching one more day of survival. But as he stood near a small bakery, deciding what to do, he heard something. A young man's voice. It was shaky, almost breaking. Thomas turned his head. Across the street, sitting on the stone steps of a closed shop, was a boy, maybe 21, maybe younger. His guitar rested against his knees, and his hands were covering his face. Thomas walked closer. The boy looked up, his eyes red from tears. The guitar case was open beside him, but inside, only a few coins, not even enough for a sandwich. The boy whispered softly, almost to himself, "Maybe I should just give up. Nobody cares about my music." Thomas felt a strange pull in his heart. He knew that feeling, the weight of giving up, the silence of nobody believing in you. He looked down at his own hand, the last $5, his survival, and he thought, what good is my life if I only live for myself? Thomas bent down, placed the $5 note in the guitar case, and said quietly, "Don't stop. The world needs your music. Even if you don't believe it right now, one day someone will." The boy froze. He picked up the note with trembling fingers. He looked at Thomas, really looked at him. The torn jacket, the tired eyes, the empty hands. And in that moment, he realized what this man had just done. Tears rolled down his cheeks. Why would you give this to me?" he asked. Thomas smiled faintly. "Because once, someone believed in me when I was lost. Now, it's my turn." Then Thomas walked away. No explanations, no waiting for thanks, just a broken man disappearing into the cold night. Days turned into weeks. Thomas went on with his life, struggling as always. He never thought again about that boy. But life has a way of circling back. One summer afternoon at the town square, a crowd had gathered. Music filled the air, strong, beautiful, alive. At the center stood the same boy, but he was no longer broken. He sang with confidence, his guitar ringing with passion. People clapped, cheered, and threw coins and notes into his case. And then their eyes met. The boy stopped playing for a second. A smile spread across his face. He stepped down from the little stage, walked through the crowd, and hugged Thomas tightly. "Sir, I never forgot you. You gave me my first real hope when I was ready to quit. That $5 bought me strings for my guitar. That night I wrote a song. That song changed everything." Thomas's eyes filled with tears. For the first time in years, he felt something he thought was gone forever. Purpose. Sometimes we think we are too small to make a difference. We think our kindness is too little, but to someone else it can be everything. Thomas gave his last $5, and in return he saved a dream that would inspire hundreds of others through music. So remember this: it doesn't matter how broken you feel. Even a small act of kindness can create a ripple that reaches further than you'll ever see. Because when we give, not from our pockets, but from our hearts, we keep hope alive.